So, peace and blessings, family. Marina here. It's been a while since I've recorded a video from my book, If I Decide to Fly. The cold weather has required that I come inside to record my videos now, and so I am going to, unfortunately, my backdrop is not as beautiful as it was over the summer months when I was recording, but you got to keep the ball rolling. You got to do what you got to do. I hope you all are well. I am well. I am well. Have been exceptionally busy and just recently had a few days to just slow down for a while. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Really grateful to be able to slow down. Just been in a good space, taking my time, replenishing my jewelry and my waist beads, and working on some workshops and some retreats, and really excited about that. I've been actually able to participate in the facilitation of 2 retreats. We did a womb retreat, and then we also did a retreat about what's in your suitcase. This idea of what are your gifts, what you come here with to share with the world. And that was really, really profound, an exceptionally profound workshop. Have another one coming up in December called Taking Flight, where we look at rewriting our manuscript. What are some of the things that we bought into that we no longer want to continue that script in our journey moving forward, and want to potentially add, delete, rewrite some pages, so that retreat is coming up December 3rd, and I'm really excited about that. But today, this is all about If I Decide to Fly, collected poems of affirmation and celebration for African American men. When I left off about a month ago, I recited 2 pieces from the first part of the book, and I wanted to talk about that. I think I had briefly talked about it before, but I wanted to talk about that first part of the book. Again, it's entitled, the sub-chapter is entitled Between You and Me. And that is not between Black men and Black women, but all of these poems are poems that relate to brothers talking to brothers. And I think when I mentioned this initially, if you go back and watch some of my other videos, I talked about how I believe this book was channeled through me, to me, because of just the way that it flowed, the conception of how it came about. And it just seemed to just come from a wellspring within me and just poured out of my spirit. So when I talk about Between You and Me, these poems are really poems that relate to Black men talking to each other. The first poem that I recited, if you go back and watch part 5, was Brother to Brother. And then I also did a poem called Now Fly, which was a brother, a Black man, acknowledging that he was already given wings, and now, he has the capacity to fly, to soar, and him having that recognition. This piece I'm going to do now is called I'm Not Confused About Life at All. And I really love this poem because I don't think this poem is gender biased. I used to recite this poem when I was out on the circuit reciting poetry. I used to love to recite this poem, and it seemed like every time I would recite it, it would pertain to a particular time in my life where, I was reminding myself that, ooh, Marina, it looks a little confusing. You may feel a little confused, but baby girl, you got this. And I can see the correlation between this poem and how it could relate, how ancestors poured this poem into my spirit about not being confused about life, about, having certain things come up and certain things happen, but those things not like really taking you off guard and not really just kind of shaking your very foundation. It does that part where you may feel a little off kilter, and feel like you're not sure about the direction that you go. But at the end of the day, it's really saying, I got this, I got this, I got this. So if you will, I would like to recite for you from my book, If I Decide to Fly, Collected Poems of Affirmation and Celebration for Black Men. If I Decide to Fly. I said that already. The poem I'm going to recite is called I'm Not Confused About Life at All. And it says, I'm not confused about life at all. But even if I stumble, even if I fall, I'll get back up. I can do anything, be whatever I want. And because I believe is the only point. When you see me walk by, never doubt. I know what my life is all about. No, I'm not cocky and I'm not vain. I've had floods in my life, y'all. I've known rain. You see, I wasn't born with no spoon in my mouth because my background stems from the old South. But I'm not confused about life at all. Although I've been humbled in my life back down to a crawl. But I've heard that voice in my ear saying there's a reason why I put you here. And when you experience the toughest of plights, you must never give up. You must always fight. I'm not confused about life at all. I'll live my life, I'll have a ball. I won't step on your toes or cause you pain. And all I ask is you do for me the same. You see, my peace of mind and joy of heart is where I come in with my God and all else departs. Who and what I am is only up to me. No one else can decide what my life will be. You see, I know no limitations. I never hear no. I'm the only one who decides where my life will go. I'm not confused about life at all. But even if I stumble, even if I fall, I won't hold my head down and cry. 'Cause y'all, I've learned this thing called life is made up of try after try after try. I say, yeah. See why I like that poem? I mean, just the boldness and the brashness of it. The proclamation of a black man to dare to say, despite all that they've been through and despite all that he's been through, that there's no confusion about this thing. That he's had floods in his life. He's known rain. Doesn't make him cocky. It doesn't make him vain. But there's some confidence in saying, I know what my life is all about. There's a difference between cockiness and confidence. And sometimes, for me speaking, for black men, that can be a fine line, walking that fine line, because on one hand you might get, you cocky, you need to come down a little bit. And yet, we as women say, we like a confident man. We want him to be confident. We like that confidence in his stride, and, we like that confidence in his walk. And so sometimes, there can be some mixed messaging in that idea of walking that fine line between confidence and cockiness. But in this poem, this brother is professing, there's no cockiness here. Don't mistake my confidence for cockiness, but yet it's there. I love the way this poem talks about when you experience the toughest of plights, you must never give up. You must always fight. And fight doesn't mean you got to be with the knuckles and shit. It doesn't mean that fight is about always having to be physical. Sometimes fight is about the tenacity to hold on to what you really believe and fighting for that. But more of a spiritual thing as opposed to a physical thing. I fight for what I stand for. And that's that's a me thing. That's me doing my thing. Meaning whether it's if I believe I want to take care of my body, I'm going to stay away from certain foods. And some people could say, it doesn't have to be a fight. It's all about perception. It doesn't have to be a fight. You don't want to end up in a struggle fighting with yourself. But it's the idea that, you stand on it, you stand for what you believe, and you fight for it at all costs, even if that means that you're your own enemy. That you have to set some boundaries with yourself and say, listen, I've been on this sugar fast personally for about 7 months now. And at some point it got tough. It got really, really tough. It was to a point where I was like, whoo, this is really tough. And I had to remind myself of why I was doing it, remember the benefits of it, and just really have a conversation with myself about the commitment that I made to myself, the discipline that I had already committed up to this point, and the not wanting to go backwards. So that's kind of sort of what I'm talking about. I also love the part where it says, my peace of mind and joy of heart is where I come in with my God and all else depart. I would say my peace of mind and joy of heart is where I come in with my God, my spirit guide, and my ancestors. There's a team of people or energies or spirits that are supporting my journey. And so where I come in with all of those energy forces is my peace of mind, which is what gives me the ability to stand on what I believe. And even during the dark times, it's where everything else goes to the wayside. This is where I am. This is what I stand on. This is my foundation. So when I'm having those dark nights of the soul, I'm having those moments where it's getting tough, I know where to go. I know to sit at my altar. I know to journal. I know to go for a walk, whatever it is that I need to do. But I don't need to succumb to vices that may not serve me. You know what I'm saying? I may not need to go have a drink or go do anything that might be harmful for my body, because I understand that there's resources that I can go to help me sustain myself. Who and what I am is only up to me. No one else can decide what my life will be. I see no limitations. I never hear no. I'm the only one who decides where my life will go. Some pretty powerful words. And I always say there's a difference between acknowledging something and putting it into practice. When I speak those words of I'm the only one who decides where my life will go, that means that there's some action steps I got to take, some things I might have to do. And sometimes those are things that I'm not necessarily wanting to do, but if they're going to help me to get to the next step, and I don't mean anything, illegal or anything like that. But it might mean, I don't know, taking a job that I don't necessarily want to take, but one that gives me comfortability within the realm of who I say I am. So for instance, like I've recently gone back to teaching. I do it 2 days a week for 2 hours. 5th grade, 5 or 6 children. Love it. Love it. And it's a 10-week program. So after 10 weeks, it's over. So I did that partly for some extra income, but more importantly because there were things that I wanted to experience around children per se that I don't normally get around adults. And so putting it in that energy field, putting myself in that energy field of remembering the youthfulness of life before, you become adult and you start doing the adult things. And when you're around children, they remind you of those things. Yeah. So anyway, that's I'm not confused about life at all. There are a couple of other poems in this section. There's one poem that I used to love. I kind of put this to a beat. It's called Fine With Me. And it's this really playful poem about brotherhood and what it means when there's a togetherness between Black men. And it goes something like this. Count your blessings now, 1, 2, 3. To be a brother is fine with me. If I had it any other way, in my heart I can truly say to be a brother is fine with me. My brothers, I'm sure you agree. Ain't no other like you and me. We're original as original can be. To be a brother is fine with me. You know, just the playfulness of brotherhood. I used to love to do this poem for my son when he was young, because he used to like for me to do that. I don't know where the beat came from or the rhythm, but just when I read that poem, Count Your Blessings Now, 1, 2, 3, to be a brother is fine with me. If I had it any other way in my heart, I can truly say, to be a brother is fine with me. My brothers, I'm sure you'll agree, ain't no other like you and me. We're original as original can be. That's why everybody trying to be y'all and copy y'all, but that's another story. To be a brother is fine with me. Yeah, like that poem, like that poem, like that. I think I am going to stop there because I don't want my videos to be too long. So I think I'm going to stop there. I'm already at 15 minutes. So I will stop there. I will come back probably in another couple of days, and I will drop the next video from my book, If I Decide to Fly, Collected Poems of Affirmation and Celebration for African American Men. Have a great day. Enjoy. Peace and blessings.